Here we go. Three, two, one. Let's do this. Okay, so welcome everybody to LinkedIn to Breakfast. Fantastic to have you here. We're going to be talking about what makes a great LinkedIn post today, and also we're going to get you to break out into rooms to discuss that very topic. We're going to give you some things, some subjects, some conversation starters to kick off with. And it's great to be able to do that because an event like this is actually how allows you to kind of meet and chat and interact with fellow members here. So we like to do that to solidify the learning. And it's coming up to Christmas, so why not? Why not a little bit of networking as well today? What we do at LinkedIn for Breakfast, by the way, if this is your first session, we want to just put our mission out to let you know why we all gather here. And this is our mission for LinkedIn for Breakfast, is to make this the best place on the planet for people to be able to learn LinkedIn for free to help them with things such as business development, that's the lead generation side, and also brand expansion. The whole point of this is that we gather together to be able to really nail those two things, and it's not costing you a penny. And in fact, to help you, and actually, if you look in the chat in a second, because I think Flora will probably post it, we have an amazing free community with all the recordings from all the sessions that we do, little mini courses, little challenges, a great community to be able to share. And we also run two pods on a Tuesday, one for people selling into corporates and one for people selling to small businesses to be able to help to boost your posts. So loads and loads of extra value within our school community. So do jump into there as well. So this is our kind of help for anybody who's getting stuck on LinkedIn. So what's our agenda today? Well, our agenda today is to kind of review the algorithm changes and actually why is it important. And then the second part is looking at four starter ideas on what makes a great LinkedIn post. So actually, the second part of part one is kind of give you some ideas to get the conversation started. And then finally, in part two, we want to break out just for 5 minutes or so to allow you guys to talk to other members within this group and discuss, well, actually, what do they see is working well on LinkedIn? Come back together at the end, share the ideas, and then do stick around for the end because I've got a very special announcement about next week and the fact that there's going to be two events, one at a US friendly time zone and one as a UK or European friendly time zone. And it's going to be about what's happening, what's the state of play for 2025 on LinkedIn, and what's our strategy in 2025. So stick around to the end because you won't be able to get the links unless you do. Cool. Okay, so why post on LinkedIn? Well, it's a simple concept, right? So the more that you put out there into the world, the more people are going to see you, more people are going to see you, then they're obviously going to find yourself interesting and want to buy your services. It's the whole point of marketing. But also, LinkedIn gives us a clue through the social selling index, which is something I like to look at when we talk about LinkedIn profiles on these sessions. And the SSI score basically is the measurable way that LinkedIn ranks you on LinkedIn. And it gives you this kind of score, and it actually allows you to score within these different sections. So if you haven't done this, and actually just for a bit of fun, if you're logged into LinkedIn, you can find out your SSI score if my thing works. And if I just stick this into the chat now for you, you could quickly click on this link and you should be able to get your SSI score. And feel free to just to post it within the chat just to kind of document. I always like to do this because when we talk about SSI score, it's quite nice to go and sort of document to say, hey, my score is 75 or whatever it is in there. And it's quite nice if you do that, then you're actually going, oh, okay, I logged it last time I was this and this is this. So we kind of like to do that just for a bit of fun. So have a little look at what your SSI score is. And then when you do, you might find yourself on a page that will look like this, and this will be your social selling index. Now, why is it important to post on LinkedIn? Well, if you look at the top one here, establish your professional brand, that's all about posting on LinkedIn. As well as if you engage with insights, which is the third one down, that's all about commenting and engaging on hashtags and the conversation on LinkedIn, both of which will help if you are both posting and also commenting on people's posts on LinkedIn. And the bigger your score goes, the more credible you're going to be the more you're likely to get top voice badges on LinkedIn, the more likely LinkedIn is going to allow you to connect with more people. Because although we talk about the 100 person a week connection limit, that's actually not a set in stone limit. It's ebbs and flows. The more your SSI score goes up, the more credibility you have on LinkedIn, the more you can stretch that to 120, 150 odd people that you're connecting with per week. But if your SSI score goes down, the less likely you are to be able to send more connection requests and the more control and restrictions LinkedIn has on you. So the more credible you are, the better your reach goes. And you want that if you're doing posts, you know? So the whole point is like that self-fulfilling prophecy. I do posts, I grow my credibility. My credibility allows my posts to grow, so therefore I do more posts, right? So it's all part of the game, right? But it's worth noting and working through what your SSI is. So cool. So thank you guys for looking at that. So we've got some in here. Wow. Okay. Tony's there. 80. Love that. Good scores in there. So we've got some improvements. Valerie's improving from 49 to 53 since joining. That's cool. Got some 61s, some 55s. Lovely. Well, look, thanks for posting those into the chat. It's always fun to do it, right? It was what gets measured gets improved. So now we want to think about these algorithm changes. And this is a slide that I do revert back to a couple of times, but I think it's the best sort of reflection on a report that was put out about the algorithm report by two guys who are heading up the actual algorithm, tech guys within LinkedIn. And it's very rare that you get that type of information. Where it came from was a podcast episode where they were both being interviewed and spoke very openly for the first time ever about how the algorithm works. And somebody amazing called Catherine Wheat Tech made this great visual that Laura Toop actually sent across to me, and I presented it a couple of times now. And I really like it because it's beautiful visualization. Feel free to take a screenshot of it. We'll also forward these slides after today in there. In fact, actually, yeah, just take a screenshot of it. No, well, you can take a screenshot. I'm sure you'll be all right with it. But I love this because you can see here we can work our way sort of from top left and work our way through. There's loads in here, but I'll just kind of ping out a few that I think will really help, right? So the whole point of this posting is not enough. Top left. I really see this as actually a key point because it's talking about actually nurture your post after publishing and stick around to engage with other people's posts and engage with at least 3 posts from your network, right? So the point of this is if you can engage and also respond to comments within the first hour, you're getting these extra bits of growth. And these sort of 20% growth and 20% growth isn't actually taken directly from the LinkedIn people's mouths. This was done from testing after they mentioned this, and then people are seeing these tactics actually put into the into work. So we like to look at it as this kind of half an hour window, and we have a pod, which is basically where we all kind of like and comment people's posts. And can we see a blackboard, by the way? Give me a thumbs up. Can you see a blackboard? Good stuff. Okay, good. Okay. So what we say is if you're going to post on LinkedIn, say you're going to put your post out on LinkedIn here, right? If you can actually say when you do it, I'm going to spend 20 minutes to 30 minutes window when I'm posting, it will really help. And so if you can spend, let's say 30 minutes, all right, so 10 to 15 minutes beforehand. So let's say we're going to do 10 minutes here where we actually do some engagement beforehand, right? So we go and connect with people, we comment on other people's posts, we share other people's content. Like we do a whole bit of kind of going through our prospects, the kind of classic working that you do on LinkedIn, commenting, liking, talking to people. And then you post, land the post, spend sort of 5 minutes or so putting the post together, put it out there, make it look great, get a picture on it. There's a few other things that will give you some tactics on what posting. And then afterwards, spend, 15 minutes commenting back on people's posts, plus commenting on other people's posts. That gives you this sort of perfect window where you are working before, posting, and after. Because if you just post and go, you're not getting those additional pieces. So think about that when you post. So when we do a run a pod where we actually are all linking and posting, you can see that within the LinkedIn for Breakfast community here. So we run this pod here. So you can see here we run two pods. One is a business to corporate. So if you're selling into corporates, we have a pod for you there, and we've got another one that sells in people selling into small businesses or into consumers. So we only want people posting in here if they're selling into corporates. And below here, you can see, hey, here's the link. And then people will say done, done, done when they've actually posted on it and done, done, done. So if you're going to play with this on Tuesday lunchtime, go on to this, like and comment on some people's posts, then post yours, and then like and comment on other people's posts. Bam, you got your perfect 30-minute window, as well as actually that 30-minute window being with the right sort of people who are also then sharing content in the right industry sector or to the right target market, right? So you can see why that would work. And when we go back to this algorithm here and the changes, this lovely schematic, it's going to give you those extra outreaches in your posts. It's going to help you to really look after the content and work well. Cool, right? So avoid being the first person that comments on your post as well. So if you're going to comment on your own post, avoid being the first one. And that again is another important piece, right? Next bit, selfies on the right hand side here. Selfies deliver 3 times more engagement, up to 2.5 times more reach. And I think we can see that. Now, although you like them or loathe them, and actually there's so many of them, but that's because they work. And if you put a nice selfie out on your post, you actually will do well, particularly if you're telling a personal story or you're talking about something where you want people to be drawn in. It helps. And of course, people buy people, right? So it's the similar with posts. People read posts by people. If they're boring logos that are posting pretty stuffy type of content, then we're not so endeared to it. Versus if someone's sharing a story about how they're able to have this challenge and they overcame this challenge, and this is a great selfie of them, then bam, suddenly it works well. And I know it's simple, but even the LinkedIn people said that, right? Okay. The other thing is use your tags wisely. This is on the left now. So tagging people into the post is really good. If you do tag them into the post though, make sure they are going to comment or like or share it back. Because if you're just going randomly tagging in Richard Branson or whatever and they're not commenting back on it, actually it can be detrimental. Whereas if they do comment back on it, bam, you're actually got a multiplier. So if you're going to tag someone in there, maybe send them a little WhatsApp to say, hey, I just tagged you into a post. Thought you might like it. Here's the link. And then they might actually like and share it, right? So that's really, really cool. So the other thing is use more than 3 hashtags. And hashtags are super important because people can search for hashtags, right? And the whole point of the hashtags is you're getting into a conversation feed, right? People can click on hashtags. They can see other conversations around those hashtags. Hashtags are super important to be able to actually say to LinkedIn, hey, this is the type of thing I want to talk about. And you can then get into those conversations. People follow actual hashtags. And so you can attract people that are in those conversations. It is important. Okay. And of course, consistency is, this is the last one I'm going to talk about here. Bottom left, consistency is important, right? So minimum, and I would argue daily, you should be posting, but minimum 2 posts a week. Because if you stop posting, it's going to need to get back up to that rhythm before you get that extra reach, right? And it's saying your first 4 to 5 posts will receive about 30% less reach before you get into a rhythmic amount of posting. So there you go. That gives you a bit more. And there's loads more on there for you to play with. And also, we're going to have a conversation around there. But from this, there's four little ideas that I want to tee up a conversation, and then we're going to jump into these breakouts, right? Okay. And by the way, if you are doing hashtags, so there's a few comments in there about hashtags. There's a few things that I would say. Just run your post through ChatGPT and just say, hey, could you give me 4 really good hashtags that are going to help my reach on LinkedIn? Boom. And then it will give you some great hashtags. Simple, right? That easy. Cool. So number 1, attention grabbing headline. So this is the idea. Make sure that you lead with either a first line, if it's just a post one without an image, with something that really grabs people's head attention, or you use an image that's got a headline with something attention grabbing, like the example I've got there on the right hand side. People love statistics, they love inspirational, motivational quotes, they like questions, how to's, humor, statements, that kind of clickbaity stuff. Just bam, hit people with a big title because that sets the tone. And we talk about this when we are producing video content. In the first 20, 30 seconds of a video, you want to confirm the thumbnail. And I would say in the first few sentences of your post, you want to confirm the headline. So you can't just do an outrageous headline and then talk nothing about it. Make sure you confirm that actually the reader's going to get the value that you've promised in that headline within the first few sentences. Super, super important in terms of structure, right? Lovely. There's a question in the chat about what is a personal hashtag, and a personal hashtag is when you go hashtag Richard Woods or hashtag $1 million sprint because they're brand related hashtags. So you can do that. There's some debate whether or not that's much benefit or not, but it certainly is telling LinkedIn that the name Richard Woods is important. I would argue, though, that the fact that I wrote the article and my name is above it when I've written that, then having a personal hashtag probably isn't that important, but it's not going to hurt, right? So why not? Good. Okay, so two, ask your reader questions. Now, I love this about Laura Toop. Actually, I mentioned her because she's great. If you ever want to follow someone online, she's amazing actually writing content. $1 million sprinter Laura Toop, and she asks questions. So you can see here she's using the emoji with the questions, and her thing is all four questions. So, what is empathy? Why does empathy matter as the leader, right? And then she's then answering these questions. And you can see as you look through this, she's giving statistics in there. So 83, 86% of employees believe. She's tagging in Kim because she's referencing that she's used that person's quote. That's really cool. And her headline also is, have you ever worked with a leader who lacked empathy? Question mark, right? Can you see how this is really nicely structured? It's got questions, it opens with a big statement, it's tagging in some research with a quotation in there. Really, really cool. So just think about this because that can really help to structure how you work. Again, if you're struggling and you want to add some of these things in, run it through AI and just say, hey, this is my original content. I don't want you to change my voice, but I'd like to add a couple of questions in there, or I'd like to make a bigger statement when I first open up. And so think about that. Okay, three, use stories with a selfie. So I just want to show you this because we mentioned it before, but look, this was a great one by Lizzie. This is her actually on one of our $1 million sprint retreats. If you don't know, I've got a client group and we do these retreats where we climb mountains as part of our client group, which was fun. And that's her talking about resilience because that's her specialty. And she's saying, has it been tested? And bam, there's her celebrating at the top of Snowdonia. And so that was a great post. It worked really nicely and it warmed people to her. And then it actually had people that reached out to her and she got leads from it. So that statement can really work. And the last one I'm going to show you before we jump into conversations, and this is looking really good, is videos. Now, if you've got the LinkedIn app on your phone right now, pick it up and go to it and go and click on the app. At the bottom, and you won't be able to see my screen, but at the bottom, there's a new button that has been added in the last week or so with the word video on it, right? It's just been the user interface has been redone and there's video. And when you go on it, it now feels like Instagram stories and you scroll up, it feels like TikTok. You can scroll, swipe, you can doom scroll until the cats come home. And so they have they have gone all in on video. They have realized that actually linger time is vital for people for their share price. Basically, they know the reason why TikTok does so well, the reason why Instagram does so well is they've transitioned. Well, TikTok was only these stories, but Instagram transitioned from being pictures on their thing to actually now into this story thing. And it's kind of where the world has gone. And that linger time, that short 1 minute type video, those reels, those stories, seems to be the consumption media that is now vogue. And LinkedIn have gone in, they've done it. And so you will see a massive uptick in engagement on your stuff by doing these small 1 minute videos. Now, let me give an example here of Christian. You see, look at the engagement below here, like 190, 179, 213, 240, but yet you'll see 190 down bottom left, but then he's posted it again 3 times. Why is that? Put in the chat whilst I get it up. What, who can tell me why we can see the 4 posts from Christian there, and 3 we can't see statistics for? Who's got the answer whilst I show you his live thing? Who's going to tell me in the chat there? Thank you, Michelle. Yes, groups. So Christian is posting into groups. So not only is he posting these pieces, these videos on here, and he's using like funny little self, like almost meme videos. He's health and safety, right? So he likes to post people slipping over. It's quite easy to get quick wins, engagement. But what he does, he does that, and then he makes a serious point about actually his health and safety business, and it works very well. And then he interweaves it with more thought leadership stuff, like this interview that he did in here, right? This works really well. And he's been sharing this with our $1 Million Sprint group. He's a $1 Million Sprinter. In fact, when I started working with him, he was only a few bits of revenue, and now he's over $1 million in revenue. So he's done really, really well. He's one of the great success stories we've got. And it's this type of mantra, which is basically he'll post it on his profile. Look, 181 likes there, and then he'll duplicate it into groups as new posts into specific target groups. It's what we call the Trojan horse tactic. And what do we mean by Trojan horse? Well, the Trojan horse was an offering from the Greeks to Troy, and that was great. So these posts are like an offering of engagement into these groups. They don't look like salesy posts. The group then, or the kind of owner of the group says, oh, it's okay. It's kind of adding the engagement. That's great. But then, of course, when people do engage in it, of course, his band of appointment setting Greeks are then all over the engagement, and they're messaging and DMing them and inviting them on to follow his content, but also onto more value that he can give them, and ultimately then into selling to them. So it's that kind of Trojan horse. Find something that works, like a nice video that works on your profile. And when it does work, then bam, duplicate that into target groups as not shared posts, but new posts with the same content. And that will then help the engagement within the group. And it will also help to draw people from that group, ideally target groups that have got your audience in, and extract them into being connections and followers of your profile. And so the Trojan horse works. Cool, huh? Right. So what we're going to do, my pedigree chums, there's a load there to talk about. Loads there to talk about. So what I want to do is just for 5 minutes, just for fun, get into the festive fun. We're going to go to breakout rooms, and we're going to get you to talk about actually what makes a good post, what you feel would make a great post, and I would love you to come back with one idea per group that you can add into the conversation to say, hey, we also saw this worked well on LinkedIn. So what has the group seen that also works well on LinkedIn? And share your thoughts about posts. Dive into it. It is a bit of fun. And I look forward to coming back. And don't jump off, because remember, we've got these special events we're going to talk about at the end. Right. See you in a second. We're going to create these groups, and we're going to open all the rooms now. So enjoy. Do jump into the group rooms now. All right. Whoop, whoop. Okay, we're back in. How was that, gang? How was that? Was that good?
Interesting.
Yes, it was good. Yeah,
I love a breakout room because it's just nice to speak to each other, right?
absolutely.
It's nice to get a bit of a flavor for, the wealth of knowledge and the expertise in this room, and the different varieties of thought process, different positions people come in, different experiences with this stuff. So I loved it. I thought it was great listening. I get the opportunity to bounce from everybody's room and just eavesdrop for
Yeah,
one.
I spotted you.
Well, look, we're going to be doing a little bit more like speed networking next week. So just stick around. We'll talk about that. But to start off with, can I get the people who are the spokespersons from the room to use the reaction button at the bottom, which is the heart, And raise your hand so I can see the 5 of you across the top like this. And we're just going to spend sort of 20 seconds on each person, just sharing their idea from the room. If you forgot to announce or anoint a spokesperson from your room, and you've got something that you'd like to share from your room and no one else in your room has got their hand up, stick your digital digit up and we will have you there. Cool. Okay, good stuff. So Julia, let's start with you. Let's learn a little bit
Okay.
more about your room.
Yeah, so thanks. We had a really interesting room with lots of different experience in it. Some people not having posted at all, some posted quite a bit. I think the key takeaway was that personal stories work really well to kind of set the context, particularly if you're launching a business. You know, like you say, people connect with people. So what's your personal story? How did you get into your business? Why are you doing it? I think that they're really valuable. We're also talking about the value of polls as well in terms of getting engagement. And the
Yeah.
main thing also was coming out was, like you said, about consistency. How do we get consistent? And so I was sharing about, there is the schedule feature there on LinkedIn. So you can schedule posts to come out like over the Christmas period if you're not at your computer working to make it happen. But we were also talking for one lady in a group who hasn't posted yet. Maybe she wants to just schedule a post for like at the weekend, then she's going to forget it's even coming out, right? Because some of it's just about the fear of thinking it's going, but you schedule it for a
Mhm.
few days or a week in advance, and then it happens, and then all of a sudden you've posted and you didn't even know you posted. So,
Exactly. I think that's great. Yeah, the idea of using a the scheduler, that's I love the schedule. I think Julia, I was in your room. You made a great point about, well, it's
yeah,
Christmas Day. I'm not going to post on Christmas Day, but yet you can post on Christmas Day, as you were saying, by using the scheduler and just put a nice little post out saying Happy Christmas, everybody. And LinkedIn's got a great scheduler baked into what it does. We schedule a lot of our newsletters that go out on a Sunday. So we have a Sunday newsletter that goes out, LinkedIn newsletter. That's all scheduled out for weeks in advance because, yeah, I don't want to work on a Sunday, nor does my team. So, yeah, I love it. Thank you, Julia. Great. Oinka, over to you.
Okay, so similar to Julia, we had lots of great conversations and a range of people in there. The main things we talked about again was personal posts tend to be the ones that make the difference. A little bit different than Julia's team. We were talking about, sharing bits of your own life, things that have happened with you, and then making a link to your business theme in some way. And that seems to get quite a lot of traction. And then we were talking about what else did you put about? Okay, and then one of the ladies who hadn't posted or had done one post before and hadn't had a lot of traction, she was thinking of what do I put out there? I'm not sure what
that's me.
people would want to hear. And then we made the suggestion of using chat, so talking your voice to chat and ask what would your audience like. So that's something I think she can think about doing. I think, but that was the range. I think what we talked about. Mainly the personal stories, definitely. Also, the other point was some of us was thinking that when you schedule lots of posts, it can start to feel a little bit impersonal. There's quite a few people who actually like the idea of doing it ad hoc when it kind of moves them rather than a big massive conveyor belt of posts. So it's kind of doing a bit of both, but allowing you to have your authenticity in whatever you're posting. I think that's it.
Exactly. I think that's a great idea. Having a few days, like for example, we always love doing a poll on a Monday because it starts the week well, gets the engagement up on the start of the week. But then you could maybe say on a Wednesday, well, I'm just gonna just post whatever, takes my fancy on a Wednesday and just keep it really flow. But Wednesday's the only day you have to worry about that. So you can block out an hour of your time. And people talk about that deep work, don't they? I've got a talking to one of the clients in Million Dollar Sprint yesterday about deep work. He's saying, I don't have time for deep work. I'm so busy. I said, well, why don't you just block out an hour and a half or so just to get away from the screen, do some deep work, but then when you go back, have 15 minutes where you're just going to blurt out a post that was inspired by your deep work, whatever that might be, if you fancy doing it. And I thought that was really nice because not only are you, working whatever your brain takes you, but then you can actually document that on your LinkedIn profile as a nice kind of wrap up. It's almost like a wrap up from your own deep work on there. I thought that was a really nice idea, almost journaling style, I guess. But cool, I love that. Thanks, great suggestions there. Dawn, over to you.
Hi. Well, it was quite serendipitous, really, because I was in a group with a couple of people who do similar kind of work on deeper trauma and more controversial issues. And we were discussing how, like, Ray mentioned about being authentic, but an authenticity, which is just another buzzword bingo word these days. And we were saying how, because we write about certain subjects, people are too afraid, and it's a lot of posts are really boring, a lot of vanilla 101. And most of us were only on LinkedIn because we have to be. We don't really want to be on social media of any kind, but LinkedIn is the least offensive because I said there's less children in school uniform and photos of food. But we were talking about how some of us are getting shadow banned because of the subjects that we talk about within our business. Unfortunately, two ladies didn't get to speak too much because three of us kind of monopolized it, so public apologies to them. But yeah, it was really interesting to find that a lot of us are not inspired or mentally stimulated by some of the generic posts, but how at least two of us in the group have been shadow banned because of the work that we do and the vocation that we've chosen.
It's tough. It is tough. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I got shadow banned because I was talking about Taiwan on TikTok. I was on TikTok. I was doing really well, and then I did a thing about Taiwan and how I think China's overstepping the mark, and boom, like reach died.
That's because you didn't do it while you were twerking, Rich.
What? And mighty, I twerk like a good one. You wouldn't believe.
Oh, do you?
So
we'll find out on the 17th of January, won't we?
But yeah, it's a thing, right? It's the thing. So you kind of have to be conscious of that, but you don't want to lose your voice. It's a difficult bit, and I don't have an easy answer to that. You've got to be conscious of your subject matter and still stay, bubbler bingo, authentic to your own voice, but you've got to be careful of using certain words because they obviously social media doesn't like that stuff. So difficult, very difficult. Thank you. Last but not least, Sally, over to you, and then we'll talk about next week. Go for it.
Cool. So we were in a great group. We were having discussions about consistency and making sure that people felt like they were speaking in their true, authentic voice, and how possibly using AI to do that can help sometimes and not others, depending on if it learns how to understand your true voice, but also the need to utilize everything that LinkedIn offers. So selfies, videos, LinkedIn Lives, to kind of really get that reach. For me personally, my who knows what's going on with mine. Some can be amazing, some can be dreadful. So I'm going to trial doing the 15 minutes beforehand and the 15 minutes after of engagement to see whether that makes any difference. And also kind of posting in groups, because then you're kind of posting to your ideal clients and see whether that is helping.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to try and talk to your audience, really get that working and try and get that engagement up. It's just it's trying to stand out amongst the noise and get your message in, and that's where you've got to be consistent. You've got to get the rhythm going, but also you need to do something that is really of value, spending a bit more time on these posts and working it through, and maybe blend media. So a lot of people say, I'm posting all the time, not getting anywhere, but it's the same type of post every time. Some people try and do these like LinkedIn live challenges to go live every day for 30 days. And they're like, why is my views not growing at the end? Surely it grows at the end. And the point is that if it's the same thing the whole time, it's like driving past the same billboard every day. You stop seeing it after day 28, right? So it's blend media, blend length, blend times, test and measure, because the mixed media helps a ton. Right, cool. Thank you so much. Give it up for our spokespeople. Yes, well done. Bravo, bravo. Right, a couple of gifts for you. So first of all, when one thing that we want to do is really help you going into 2025 and help your LinkedIn profile. So we have a LinkedIn profile audit that we offer to everybody who is part of LinkedIn for Breakfast. It's totally for free, and we look at actually how you can take in some of these ideas we talked about today to be able to increase and grow your LinkedIn profile. Here's the link. It's in the chat here. Just jump on it. And there's only a few spaces to get open up each week for this. So here's the link into there. And just jump into it, find a spot, and click on the availability. There's some spaces for today that you can jump into, a couple of spaces left for today, and then a few as the week goes out. But there's not masses, and we haven't got much time because we'll be stopping these on Friday the 20th, well, the 17th at the moment by the looks of things. That's the last availability for the year. So if you want to get a review, so you've got a plan in place for next year of your LinkedIn profile, this is a great opportunity to bag one of these final ones of 2024. We're not even sure we'll be running that next year. So now's a great time to be jumping onto that. We're going to look at things like your headline, your profile, etc. It's one-to-one. It's loads of value. So do jump onto that. And then the second thing we were talking about last week about next week is we're going to do this kind of session. So content-wise within the session, we're actually talking about what would be a 2025 LinkedIn growth strategy. So we're going to be looking at actually a lot of these trends that we talked about today, and we're going to look at actually how that should apply to your campaign structure and your LinkedIn approach in 2025 from a content perspective, from a profiles perspective, from an outreach perspective. How does that interweave with everything? So that's the game plan for next week, LinkedIn 2025 growth strategy. And that's going to be the first 10 minutes. We're not going to spend masses on that, but we're going to give you like impactful ideas. And then we're going to throw that into speed networking. So the speed networking will be either one-on-one or little groups of 3. And they're going to be, it's going to be a really lovely way to quickly get to know people, spend some time talking about one, and then spend some time talking about another, and quickly get to know people. So we're going to be doing that both on Tuesday at 2 o'clock UK time. So this is going to be the more US friendly time zones. That'd be 9 a.m. East Coast or 7 a.m. West Coast in the US. That'll be 2 p.m. UK time. And then on Wednesday, it's going to be the normal slot, 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So we're doing that twice. So if you want to have 2 bouts of Christmas networking to meet people, that's a great opportunity next week. So look out for Tuesday at 2 o'clock and Wednesday at 9 a.m. Do jump into that. Cool. Right, guys. That is the end today of the formal part, and I'm happy to stick around if I can learn how to stop sharing. Happy to stick around and answer some further questions. I can see some coming into the chat now. If you're shooting off, great to see you. Maybe see you next week, but please do jump into ask any questions. So we've got Dawn there asking about, can you confirm the dates again? So 2 p.m. UK time on Tuesday next week, or 9 a.m. On Wednesday. There you go. Thank you. We got Peter saying, do you have any favorite tools for editing videos, removing the ums and ahs and creating viral shorts? Yes. Opus Cut or Opus Cut Pro is what us and the team use, and it's really, really good. You can actually upload larger videos. It's Opus Cut. Yeah, here you go. Opus Clip. There you go. Opus Clip, and this is really good. It cost my favorite number to get started with it, which is free. So this gives you the ability to create, so one long video can equal 10 viral clips. And so basically you're taking a long form video and it's chopping that up into small bits and putting those little titles on, and then you can chop in little what we call B-roll type things, which is the clip. So this is what a lot of the big boys are using. It's got a lovely freemium model, and it's a really great tool. So Opus Clip, have a little play with that. Cool. Further questions? What do we got, guys? So Thomas said that about Opus. There you go. So further questions, guys. Has anyone got any further questions, or how can I help in any way? Go for it, Thomas.
Thank you. I'm wondering, I like to funnel people to my Modern Artist Club. So it should be like for busy people, start to paint start, injecting this creative habits in your daily life so you can get better decisions and win down. And I'm wondering how I should, if I feel I don't want to be spammy about this whole thing that I'm just jumping in groups, and maybe my ideal customer could be like an entrepreneur or a marketing guy, maybe with, have a 9 to 5 job, and maybe after that want to just win down, and wondering how it could be not spam like, and with value driven posts.
Yeah, you just have to lead with value, but also stop being so concerned about what people might perceive in terms of being spammy, because actually, LinkedIn is a professional network, so people are there to network online and learn a bit more about you. So, if you went to a breakfast networking event where everybody stands up and gives their sort of 60 seconds pitch about themselves, that is promotional, but it's fine because that's the format of those breakfast meetings. Whereas going into LinkedIn groups and sort of sharing some value and talking to people and asking questions and engaging, that's the way it works. So it's absolutely fine to do that. Now, if you're just going, hey, come along to my free workshop on Wednesday, and here's the link, then that's the sort of stuff that gets taken down. Whereas if you go and put a poll into the group to say, hey, have you ever, wanted to get back into art but just don't have the time? Yes or no, like that could be a conversation starter. Or do you think art can help? Do you think creativity is important in decision making? Yeah, and then you get in a conversation happening within the right frame. Then you can do some great images of different art that's been produced, and it just kind of helps people to gravitate towards. Now, when they do connect with you, or when they do like and comment on this stuff, send them a connection request and then DM them to say, hey, thanks for connecting. Just thought I'd say hi. By the way, we do these free things. Come along to a free kind of trial class. Let me know what you do. And then you're just drawing them back. But you need to have this focal point. You need to have this thing that you're trying to gravitate them towards, such as, what we call a weekly moment. So every week we do this event. It's where we offer free value for people to come along to. Other people might have a podcast that they do. Other people might have a long form video that they have. So what is your kind of weekly focal point? And make that the value piece that you draw people into, because that will help to grow your brand, grow your audience. And then the right people will go and ask you about a bit more at the end.
Thank you. And one small question: is it better to use the personal account or make like a company or like a studio account or agency or
Definitely personal account, because people buy people, not logos. And with a personal account, you can connect with people. You can send outreach, proactively, whereas you've got to just wait for people to follow your business account. And you'll find far more people will connect with you than will accept a follow request from your page.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Last but not least, Sue.
Yes, hello, hi. When I did the course with you, I did that live stream.
Yes.
I've got two questions about that. One is, for whatever reason, in fact, I did it with you. I can't find the link to send people to see the live stream, and I did it to you apparently, sent the wrong, and I can't find the link for my live stream. I do what I think is the link, and then when I click it to check, it's somebody else's live stream. It's really weird. And I've even done it, at the bottom, on the left-hand side, it says copy link.
Yeah.
So I click on copy link. So I'm not doing it myself. I'm doing what they tell me to do. I've done that. I've then put it in the search bar and somebody else's live stream comes up. I don't understand.
So if you go onto your profile, is this a finished, like a completed live stream that you've done on LinkedIn? So have you actually gone live? So you're looking for your...
Well, as far as I know, I have. You've seen it because you've commented. And that's the other question I've got. I don't see nobody else. I haven't had any traction. The only people that have commented was yourself, and I think other people who were on the course with me.
So here's the page here, right? And you jump down to your posts. And is this it here, the DMS story?
Yes, yes.
There you go. So go down to your post, click on it. There you go.
Yeah, right. But what, so how do, where's the link? I've
Just in the top here. Here you go. So if I just copy this and I chuck it into the chat.
hang on a sec. Hang on, because I'm on quite a small screen. So where is the link?
I just copied it from the top here.
Yeah, but that's what I've done. That's exactly what I've done. But when I've then put it in the search bar to check, because any link, I always check.
If you're putting it into the LinkedIn search bar, I'm not sure that would work so well into here because it's not meant for links.
No, not into a link, not into link search bar.
Yeah.
I put it into Google search bar. If I'm sending somebody a
Here
link,
you go. If I put it into the Google search bar now, does that take me through to your post?
I bet it will when you do it, but it,
There you go.
yeah, but it doesn't. I've done it in fact, you told me when I sent it to you, you said it was the wrong one.
Yeah, well, probably because I mean, I can't. It's like that classic thing that whenever you have an IT problem, you phone up the IT department and it's never the same when someone else is looking at it, is it? So that's all I can say. Look, just go onto your profile, scroll down, go to activity, you'll see it in there.
Okay.
And look, when you say, well, I haven't had any engagement in the on it
at all.
you've got 2 comments and 7 likes, so there obviously is engagement, and you can go onto it. You can click on this, you can see who's engaging. So all these people have engaged on it, and
okay.
I don't recognize. I mean, I don't recognize him. I don't recognize this person. So these are IT people. That's not LinkedIn for Breakfast people. So
okay.
There you go.
The other question is
I've got to go because it's 10 o'clock. I've got to go on to my next call. I'm sorry, Sue. But I hope that helped. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week on Tuesday at 2 o'clock UK time. And I hope this has been helpful. And DM me, Sue, in the group if you've got a question.
I will. Lovely. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye.